Just had the county inspector up here and I got called out on 3 things. 2 of them are really simple. Actually, all 3 are really simple. It went better than I could have hoped for, again, assuming that I've never framed a house before. A couple of weeks ago when the inspector was up here, he reminded me that I needed to have the square washers on my concrete bolts instead of the round ones, like this. Now I put an excessive amount of concrete bolts in here, so only every 6 feet did I have to have the square washers, so I got those put in. The second thing that I got called out on was I missed a spot for blocking. For whatever reason right there, I ran a little bit short on the I don't know what, this must have been an odd-sized piece of OSB that I cut for something else and I scabbed it in there. And I forgot to put blocking right there and nail it off, so that's an easy fix. The other thing that I missed is I somehow forgot to nail that off. So that's an easy fix right there as well. So I'll take care of that real quick. The big issue in the back of my head this whole time was gonna be the OSB on the roof, because I messed up and on the top layer I ran vertically instead of horizontally, and that's where the OSB has its strength. And I had read something that said if it was less than a 15-foot span that it wasn't as critical and that I could put some sway bracing in. But the inspector came up here and he basically said that because I ran the OSB on the second area, the second strip up there, that I now get to put a bunch of 2x4 blocking in to give it its strength back, and I'll also do a little bit of sway racing. So the good news is I don't have to tear that whole strip off, which would have been devastating, and I can work on putting that bracing in after the roof is on. So this is great news. I've almost got the roof finished. I will fix those other 2 issues that he has, and we will start putting Tyvek on hopefully on Friday. All the Tyvek showed up last night at the warehouse where I have to go pick it up. And I am going to run down and pick it up probably this evening or tomorrow morning. But I'm so close to having the roof done, I just need to buckle down and get it done. But there's a tiny bit of ice up there. It's getting down in the teens. And so there's a little bit of moisture on it in the mornings. And that stuff's slicker than snot when there's water on the underlayment. I also decided to double up on that underlayment. I'm not sure how I feel about that stuff. I mean, it's approved for what I'm using it for, but just to ensure that I don't have any long-term problems with that corrugated tin, I'm going to do 2 layers of that underlayment. Nobody uses corrugated tin for a house, and so there's really no standards. There's not a whole lot of standards anyway. The big question with corrugated tin is, do you put the screws in the valley or the ridge? And back in the old days when they used to use the lead nails, they always talked about putting them in the ridge because they were so prone to leaking. Now that we have the self-sealing screws and rubber washers, I will likely put the screws in the valley and run that into it. I'm going to try and hit the rafters everywhere that I secure that. But the overall inspection went really well. The critical stuff that I was worried about, we have a solution to. So we are good to move forward. I'm good to slap the tin on. I'm good to put the Tyvek on. I'm good to slap the windows in. Let me just say this. I've had 2 different experiences up here with inspectors. The county inspector has gone out of his way to help me. I don't know what else to say. He definitely wants me to beat a code. He definitely wants me to get things done to code, but he's not being a pain in my ass like how do I say it? He's trying to help me. He doesn't want to stop what I'm doing up here. He recognizes that this is my place. He recognizes that I'm building something that's going to be here long term. He made the point that I could have put my rafters at 20 inches on center instead of 16. But he's going out of his way to help me. Now, on the other hand, I've had a couple of people do just the opposite. And I'll never understand why somebody would waste their time trying to obstruct what I'm trying to do up here. And I'll tell you, I'll be forever grateful for the inspector and his willingness to help, his willingness to find solutions when I made a mistake, but I'm also the homeowner builder. I'm not a contractor, a general contractor by trade. I'm a plumbing contractor. And the fact that he's gone above and beyond to find solutions to this OSB mistake is the kind of inspectors we should have. And I'm grateful that he is in fact the inspector versus, all I'm going to say is the other alternative. I had one other person that felt it was in their best interest to go. I had two other people. I had two other people that felt that it was worth their time to make my life more difficult. Instead of helping, instead of trying to maybe help me through the process, one particular person who I thought was my friend felt his time was better spent down complaining, frankly, to the county about what I'm doing up here. The other person, again, went out of his way to make my life more difficult versus trying to help. You know, he could have helped me, and he actually did have the know-how to help me. And so the fact that this inspector has time and time again, I go down and talk to him all the time if I have questions. He's always been there for me. He's helping me get my insulation in so I can get the windows in, get my Tyvek in. He wants to do one more framing inspection before I put drywall on, but I really should have plumbing and electrical in the walls before I do my insulation, and he is helping me get around that so I can get the windows in, get this place insulated, get a stove burning up here, and or get some source of heat up here, and be able to work through the winter on the plumbing and the electrical. And so anyway, I've had good experiences with inspectors over the years, and I've had bad experiences. And what's interesting is, I would say most of the time I've had good experiences with these guys, but every once in a while you meet people that have a power complex, and that seems to be what happened with this other person. I don't know why anybody would be angry at me for doing what I'm doing up here when this land was for sale for I think 2.5 years before I bought it. And the idea that I just don't get it. I don't understand why a person would waste their energy on negative stuff. You don't have to approve with. I'm not looking for anybody's approval in what I'm doing, to say the least. But to go waste your time, my time's incredibly valuable, and to go waste my time trying to make somebody else's life more difficult, I'll never understand. And especially the one person that I thought was my friend. I don't know what kind of complex that person has that causes him to go behind my back. I said things to that person in confidence that he has since said to other people. And so I don't know, it just causes me to not trust people and not be so open with people. But the good news is the overall inspection went really, really well. For the last time, I'll say it, that the county inspector that I'm dealing with is a great guy. He knows his stuff, and it's too bad that not all inspectors are more like him. Roof's done. I'm going to throw a couple more pieces of the peel and stick ice dam over the vents, and I'm going to put some tar around the vents, and then I'm going to start slapping tin up here. I'm going to pre-cut everything to go up pretty fast. Tomorrow I got to run and pick up all of the Tyvek. I got permission to install the Tyvek from the inspector, and then we're ready to go. So hopefully we get Tyvek up this weekend. My wife's probably going to come up and help me do that. And then first of next week we start putting windows in, and it's probably going to take me a couple days to get the roof done. I'm trying to find the right flue that I'm going to use with the wood burning stove, and so I need to put that penetration through as well. But we about got it. The last thing I'm going to say is I've had quite a few comments and quite a few people offering different things, and it's with a little bit of reluctance that I say this. We consider doing a Patreon page, but I wasn't crazy about the idea of asking the people that support us to contribute on a monthly basis. I've decided to put a link up to our PayPal page. I've had a dozen or more people offer to contribute for a harness. I've got a harness, to be honest with you. But if you feel like you want to be involved on a bigger scale, then just as a consumer, we're going to kind of leave it at your discretion, and we're not expecting anything, but we have had quite a few people offer different things. For those of you that do choose to contribute financially, we're considering doing something in the spring where maybe we invite some of you to come spend some time here at the ranch with us. Again, this is kind of hard for me to figure out because it's a little bit of a pride thing, I guess, but at the end of the day, we know that there are some people that have the means to contribute in a way that would be beneficial to us, and that's the bottom line. And so the link is in the description to our PayPal account, as well as the link to our Instagram. Follow us on our Instagram for more daily updates as well. Thank you, guys.